One thing you said though, is quote, "It was the whole white Jesus thing that turned me off." Now look, I don't think this is very controversial. I think there are. I think there is realistic evidence that points to him being a Palestinian man. But what was it about it, the white Jesus thing, that turned you off?
The tool of colonization and white supremacy has been to erase the gods, the names, the spiritual traditions, and beliefs of the African. And that's a phenomenal way of controlling a people, is if you can convince a people to renounce their gods, those who they consider to be omnipotent, to hold all power in the universe. If you can convince them that those entities, those deities, are in fact evil and they should worship a singular God that looks exactly like you, I mean, you've got them. There's no breaking free from that. You know, for the average person, they're not going to be able to break free from that, because you can justify absolutely anything and everything with divine presence. And so growing up with an African consciousness and being faced with this white Jesus that seemed historically inaccurate, improbable, implausible to begin with, and then just, you know, comprehending like the systems of control, I just could never ever connect to it. I could never connect to the idea that we as African people were supposed to worship a white God. And it just never made sense to me. And it really turned me away from Christianity, you know. It turned me away from Christianity for real, and I held on to it for a long, long time. I remember one Christmas, I was outside of Cook County trying to go visit our friend James. And I was salty because they wouldn't let me in because I was on probation. I decided to set a gas fire in my fucking group chat with Chance and all of them. And I was like, y'all know they gave you Jesus with slavery, right? On fucking Christmas. And the group chat goes up in flames. Everybody's like, fuck you, nigga. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You know what I'm saying? Kirsten's like, I'm not talking to this nigga at all. You know what I mean? It's Christmas. It's his whole birthday.
Yep.
And, you know, that wasn't the wise thing to
looking back, it's objectively funny, though. The timing is
objectively hilarious.
Funny. Hilarious.
Definitely hilarious. Fully unnecessary, you know, and I don't blame them, you know, because they're deeply Christian, so that shit was offensive. That group chat disbanded. Now, to be fair, I don't think that was a sustainable group chat, because that group chat was the guys and all their girlfriends and wives.
That's tough.
That's not how group chats work,
That's
nigga.
Tough.
Group chats are supposed to be the guys or the girls. Like, we don't all have a group chat together.
I have one. And I will say, it's dead silent on there.
Yeah.
It's dead silent.
No,
There's random check-ins here and there with the kids.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Something like that, but not like an active,
no.
What we on? What's going on, y'all? What we finna get into? That's cap. Because that's just a fucking death trap. So I blew that group chat.
So PSA, real quick, if you want to blow up your group chat, just talk about colonization, talk about white supremacy, talk about how Jesus is literally a brown man.
Jesus, just Jesus and slavery on Christmas. That's a surefire way to blow up a group chat. But you know what, man? In recent years, like I've really come to have an immense amount of appreciation for Jesus and the Bible. You know, like I started reading the Bible just as a collection of stories, because obviously it's like the #1 bestseller of all fucking time, like the best-selling book to ever drop, you know? And man, the Bible is so fucking phenomenal. It's so amazing. There's so much wisdom, so much that's applicable to the human experience. Like, to take it beyond the dimension of like binary constructs of race and obviously all of the human inconsistencies that are projected through it. Just amazing. You know what I mean? I love the Bible now. I study that shit now. You know, even though I'm Muslim now too, and I practice Islam, but like I study the Bible because the Bible is so linear and so layered and like the most illest storytelling. You know what I mean? I feel like human beings will find a way to be corrupt, you know, and will use whatever vessel necessary to express their corruption, whether that's your Christianity, whether that's Islam, whether that's, you know, voodoo or agnosticism, whatever it is. You know, human beings will use a religious vessel because it's a good veil for like dishonesty. You know what I mean? But at the root, I don't know if it's the existence of the religions themselves that is, you know, so destructive to the planet. Although it's kind of hard to make the argument that it's not, because fuck. But you know, but at the same time, as somebody that has benefited so much from the things that I learned from religion, from Islam, you know, I think Islam is one of those things that becomes a very complex conversation, because the same is true for Islam, that Islam has been a weapon of colonization in much of history, and has definitely been used to justify the enslaving of Africans, and was brought to African nations through conquest often. But at the same time, in my own life, history aside, like Islam has been so beneficial for me to be a good person. Like Islam is like a science of how being a good person will benefit you, basically, you know? Like Islam will inspire you to stop on the side of the road in a snowstorm and help somebody whose car is broken down. I never considered doing something like that before I started practicing Islam. And then I would just find myself like literally in the rain helping somebody whose car broke down on 9094 on the highway, up high, because I'm like, man, it's called sadaqah, you know what I mean? Like sadaqah is charity. Like doing good shit, it brings it to you. And that's just science of the universe. Beyond, if you don't really believe in any religion, that's just literally how this shit works. You know, is that putting positive energy, doing good deeds, blessing others will bring blessings your way. And Islam inspires you to do shit like that. You know, Islam will remind you when you're in the mosque. They'd be like, man, what have you done for others this month? You know, what have you done to help other people this week? Or maybe look at yourself from a year ago. What have you done that was not for you? Even the practice of fasting, man, that shit is so perspective altering. You know, it's like it's life shifting, because it makes you realize that many of the basic compulsions, you know, that we feel as human beings are something that you can absolutely transcend. Just the thought that you have to eat 3 times a day. Obviously, that's a massive blessing, you know, and I thank God every day that I'm able to do that. But like the thought that you have to, people feel like, oh man, I'm hangry. I haven't eaten since breakfast, so I can't, you know. But then you do Ramadan, and you're like, wait, I could go out there, I could go days, you know. Like I don't need to eat. Like just because my body feels like I should do something now doesn't mean I have to. So basically, just teaching you discipline, you know, teaching you that the constraints that you feel and you've always known, like are not necessarily ironclad. Like life isn't rigid in those ways. Like if you have discipline, then you can change your behavior. I love Islam, you know, but like I said, Islam has been used to oppress so many people as well. So I don't know.
It sounds like you're between two thoughts of like acknowledging how it's been used as a deep negative in society, but also realizing the positive nature of it currently.
Yeah, 100%.